So my name is Soares. I'm originally from São Paulo, Brazil. Transferred to Iowa State, best environment, best welcoming I had from the coaching staff, from my teammates, and also with the team, I just fit in so well.
I tell people, any day you're around Steph, you feel better about yourself. She's just that kind of person. And so have her here in the building every day has been good, but I think it's just her presence. I mean, she's always smiling, she's always upbeat. So any day that she's around is good, and everything has worked out probably as well as we had hoped that it would.
So my first injury looked very different. I played at an NAIA school, a small school in California, and that day was a crazy day for me. I can remember we had practice, I had lift, I did individual workout twice, and I went to shoot later that night as well. And that's when, I went up for a layup and my leg just kind of gave up on me and my knee buckled and tore the ACL and the MCL. But yeah, it was a very different experience just because, the resources that you have at a small school is very different than the resources you have at a Power 5 Division I school. So the rehabbing process was very different. I am still very grateful for all the people there. They tried to help me as best as they could to, get back to being 100%. But it just looked a lot different. And I did the best I can to rehab, to prepare. Then I started kind of come back for my senior year, gradually built on to playing less minutes and then gradually be able to play more minutes. But yeah, it was just a very freak accident.
So when she was recruited here, to my knowledge, she was doing fine. She had no real issues, and she just kind of returned to play after her first injury and didn't really think anything of it.
Well, she was honestly, she was a dream come true. When we had recruited her in high school and she chose to go to the Masters, her family had gone there. And when we had that second chance, when she had the grad transfer, we were thrilled to get her. And when she showed up on campus and when she started her workouts, just her skill, her as a person, what a tremendous addition to our team. So we really felt blessed that, she was with us. We finally had we had a big that had length, but she could run and she was so skilled.
I think coming in, my goal was to always play professional. Coming into Iowa State, the coaches were like, we're gonna get you to the WNBA. We're gonna, you have potential to be able to play. So I was shocked and I was like, okay, let's do it. So, they kind of helped me take that next step to work on my game even more.
Her ability to protect the basket and block shots is a unique thing in the women's game. Not many teams have that. She gave that to us. Her ability to score anywhere on the court and just her overall skill set is unique. Not just for anyone, but certainly for someone 6'6". We had a really, really hard schedule early. She had some huge games early and got a lot of people's attention, and our team was playing at a very high level.
The other guy looks a lot like you do, getting it downstairs, and Soares.
Game number 13 was at Oklahoma.
Thank you, thank you. It was just a normal day. We were getting ready, did all the pre-game stuff and warm up great, felt great. And yeah, it was just getting back to playing, Big 12 teams finally. So I was super excited.
Tip is up and won by Iowa State. Blocked by Soares.
Dumps it off to Soares. Recruiting players, Bill Finley.
And it was, I don't even know, it was not even 3 minutes into the game.
You bring in the size of 50 Soares, oh no.
I went to shoot a fadeaway jumper and the landing was just so weird. And I felt the pop, instantly knew that I had torn it again. I kind of stepped on it weird and just sat on the ground and wait for Megan to come by. Megan came and she kind of started talking to me and I started crying because I instantly knew I had torn it again.
She was at the other end of the court, so when I went out on the court, she looked up at me and she had tears in her eyes and she said, "Coach, I did it again." She knew she had torn her ACL before. She knew she did it again. Obviously, I think the rest of the game was a blur for everyone. I don't know anyone can remember anything about the game, really.
And we were all praying that, it was just nothing too serious.
Obviously, we came home, feared the worst, and after all the testing, it was determined that she needed surgery.
It was a season-ending injury, so that was in Game 13. And again, that was right in the beginning of the Big 12 conference season.
I never did like going to Norman. I really don't like it now, but that's all part of it. Obviously, when you're hurt, it's really hard. You kind of feel isolated. The sense of disappointment, I mean, for her was intense because it not just ended her season, but obviously thinking about a professional career, thinking about playing for the Brazilian national team. There's a lot of things that was she going to lose, and I think the other part was, you know, she wanted us to file a waiver to see if she could play again. But the process was, you know, our medical staff is as good as any place in the country. So our number one responsibility was to her, have the surgery and start the process of the rehab. And we started that right away. And our commitment to her was, even though she was only here 12 games, our commitment to her university-wide was intense, and we were going to do whatever we could to make sure she came back and played. If it wasn't at Iowa State, then as a professional.
The post-surgery process, same process. It looked a lot different than my first injury just because the staff that we have and just all the resources we have here. So yeah, just started the journey of rehabbing and kind of seeing what this next year was going to look like, if I was going to still be able to play another year, if I was going to get into the WNBA draft.
She spent most of the rest of the last season having surgery, completing rehab. The great part about her being here, though, I think is a little bit serendipitous, is the resources here are incredible. So from the athletic training staff to the physicians to, you know, the coaching staff and all these resources that she was able to have here the second time around, she'll tell you now it was almost a little bit of a blessing.
Yeah, Steph's just a very unique individual in which she truly puts her head down and goes after whatever it is the goal is for the day.
She was always so positive about it that I had no doubt, and I don't think anybody had any doubt that she would come back strong. But it's been a gradual process, and she's been looked after by, you know, Erin, our strength and conditioning coach, Tessa. They've been a great team and have had her on track right from the very start. She has hit every, you know, plateau that you have to hit to go to the next step. She's been wonderful with that. And then that was just to make sure to assure that everybody knew she would be ready to go for the following year. So it was really neat. We had a lot of WNBA coaches calling, talked to Coach Fenley, talked to our medical people about her situation for the future.
My name is Latricia Trammell, and I am the head coach of the Dallas Wings. And so I saw Stephanie prior to injury, and I knew what she was capable of, and we definitely kept an eye on her from a distance. Yeah, one of the things about Stephanie, she is such a determined young lady, and one of the things that drew us to Stephanie, just watching her prior to her injury, was just her pro body, her length, her ability to score around the perimeter, also post up with her back to the basket, and using her length on defense. And so she's, the one thing that I always hear about Stephanie when you talk to anyone is that you're getting a good basketball player, but more importantly, you're getting a great person.
Are you nervous? I'm nervous, but I'm excited.
With the 4th pick in the 2023 WNBA draft, the Washington Mystics select Stephanie Soares, Iowa State University.
Yeah, it was very, very surprising process. Wasn't sure what was gonna happen or anything, but you know, I was able to have lots of support, lots of people to kind of direct me and help me during this process, but it was really awesome, you know. Being able to go to New York too and have my family there also to experience that was just an amazing, amazing thing. Seeing my family in that different kind of environment was really fun too, with TV and all, it was just really fun. But yeah, very, very smooth process, and yeah, I think having the people around me to direct me was the best thing that could happen because I wasn't really sure what it looked like and what everything looked like, so yeah.
To go forth, I think that was a great confidence boost for her too. So then it was just a matter of every time we hit another area where we got to progress into rehab, she's been a rock star. She's worked to get to that point. She never acts like it's been too much. If I ever say, hey, do you want to go one more? It never, ever is she too tired or whatever. So we go very much by the parameters of what are given to us because she'll work all day if she could. They have different rules in the WNBA. There wasn't as much time for her to rehab, to train, probably at a site like that when she wasn't playing, than it would be here. So that was kind of, Coach Fenley had offered that opportunity, you know, as a GA to stay here and with our people to train. And I know there was big meetings with the Wings and everything, and they had decided that was the best way to go. And I think it was wonderful.
It's just another very tangible example of the administration and their commitment to a student athlete. And you're talking about a kid that played here 12 games, not someone who invested a career here. So we normally don't have a graduate assistant position. We asked for it. There was never hesitation. So as a graduate assistant, what that allowed Steph to do was obviously rehab with the best people she could. It allowed her to finish the next level of her education. And it allowed her to get some hands-on coaching experience that eventually that's part of, I think one of her things is maybe that's something she would like to do. But that doesn't happen without our administration going, you know, absolutely. This is a person that, even though it was short-lived, got her here, and we want to take care of her any way we can, and it's worked out tremendously.
You know, Steph chose to stay here. Steph chose to do her training here, and we have a really good relationship, and I think that just says a lot about her trust in Iowa State and Coach Fenn and what he's been able to do for her and all the rest of the coaches here. So that's been, it's really cool to see a student athlete put their faith in Iowa State, even though they're taking the next step forward. So when I got here, Steph was right at the point of kind of being passed off from the AT, PT to strength and conditioning. Not that the AT, PT ever goes away, but that her main focus now becomes strength and conditioning. So that's where we've been since May, where that focus kind of becomes on just like getting a lot stronger and then eventually adding in some of the plyometrics on court stuff.
So when I came in, I really got to put on my thinking cap, and I told her this is the most fun part about an ACL rehab, as selfish as that sounds, is once they can start doing more, you can get creative. And so we got to do that. We got to start kind of with a different lens because she was at a different functional phase than on the last time she had been in rehab, and really started to kind of do some more fun things.
You know, the biggest thing that comes with coming back from an ACL, especially when it's been your second, is that kind of fear, timidness of going into new drills, new exercises, new whatever it's going to be. So we always kind of talk about that a little bit before we throw new things out there. First couple times are a little rocky, and then she kind of glides right through. But Steph in general, she wants to work hard. She's got goals. She knows what her goals are. We talk about them every day. And she just really wants to train, loves to train, and, you know, has, just like I said, she has goals. And when people have goals and they want to reach them, their mind's just in a much better place when it comes to training.
They inherited Steph. I mean, when you think about it, there's no real reason they should have to do anything. I mean, but Tessa and Aaron have been phenomenal. You know, and again, you're talking about Tessa met her on August 1st, and Aaron met her, I think, July 1st. So the idea that where Steph is today, feeling really good about the next step of her career, to go play for Brazil, to be a WNBA player, it starts with her. I mean, she's had to do the work. But there's no way it gets to this point without Aaron and Tessa. It just doesn't happen. And I mean, I see it every day. I mean, I look out my window and they're there with her, and this is someone who's not going to play here. They're doing it because they're really good at their job, but they really care about, you know, someone that has the ability to do something special, and I think their expertise is unique. And you add that to Doc Greenwald and Doc Shulman and all the people that we were blessed to have here. It's gotten her where she wants to be and needs to be. So.
The crazy part about Iowa State, or the part about Iowa State that is really, really special and that drew me to want to even join the staff here is, yes, toys and gadgets are really incredible. We all see that, love that, but what's really important, I think, is being evidence-based. So every decision we make here, everything we work on here has answered the question of why we do that, right? So I'm not just putting her on a piece of equipment and just saying, just do it just to say you did it. There's an evidence-based process to why she's doing certain things, and that's how we operate here.
I'd say one of her biggest challenges is just that it is her second ACL. She's been through the recovery process before, and with a lot of that, we've just, kind of had those conversations of what went well the first time, what didn't go well the first time, where does she feel the strongest, how can we get her to feel the strongest, and just kind of working through some of those barriers and maybe blocks from things that have happened in the past, and then training through that on the court as well. You get, especially now, we're almost full go, and so you can get back to some of those things that can be a little scary or make you timid or fearful. And my goal is always to put her in a situation first where she's very comfortable, and then add to that situation. So for instance, you take her with no defense doing post moves, dummy defense doing post moves, better defense doing post moves, and then live defense doing post moves. Then you add full court into that. So it's not like you're just throwing something. It's not like, you go to the doctor and they say, oh, you're cleared to run. We don't immediately turn around and start sprinting. We go through a number of steps before we get there. So I think just coming off that second ACL, you have a little bit more of that in your mind, so that process becomes a little bit more thorough.
For athletes, especially when they're on their own, it's really hard to consistently, get up and motivate yourself to do things. So I think Erin and Tessa coming in their first year, they've been so awesome with me, and just being support, encouraging, I'm just very thankful for them. Yeah, they're tough. They're very tough for sure. They've pushed me, and I'm very thankful for that, because I wouldn't be where I'm at without them. So they for sure push you, but I'm grateful for that.
Everything has been very organized, very documented, to where we are able, Erin and Tessa have been able to go back to the wings and kind of fill them in on her progress. She's gone, they've flown her out there, so she's been able to meet with their people and kind of get their feedback too. So it's been a really good teamwork, to get her back to where we feel like she needs to be as she goes.
It's just the open lines of communication between our organization, our medical team, our coaching staff, along with Iowa State's. We've had Zoom calls to hear about the progress. They have been just completely open arms, authentic to the process. And we're working back and forth to what Stephanie needs to work on, what they feel would be best for her, what we are expecting when she arrives in Dallas in April. And so it's just been a really good team atmosphere.
So it's been really, really nice to work with such an elite program and organization. They've been great. They reached out to us, and they're asking me like, hey, what's our progress? Obviously we make sure all of this is HIPAA compliant and we have the right documentation for that, but they are very interested and excited to have Steph come, and it's actually, the feedback that we've gotten has been incredible. Of they're really impressed with the stuff that we've been able to do with her, the stuff that I can test her on, the progress that she's made even in the last 3 months here. Their athletic training staff and medical staff is elite. They all are a very well-oiled machine, and for them to come back and say, hey, these numbers look great, or wow, this is incredible that you had the resources to do A, B, and C, that feels really good that we're on the right track. And it's also, at the end of the day, like, that's another athletic trainer that I'm communicating with, and it's fun to talk shop with someone like that who gets it, who gets the whole process. And at that level, what they do is, it's not necessarily like worlds different from what we're doing here. So the preparation that Steph is getting, and it's also giving us kind of that, giving me that confidence of like, man, like, we're not worlds apart from the Dallas Wings in terms of what we can provide as athletic trainers or medical staff. That's pretty cool.
The staff here has been absolutely incredible. And even if you walk through their practice facility, you can see how many players have been drafted from this program. And that says a lot about them and the professionalism that they have, and also them preparing some of their athletes for professional basketball. And so they're always staying connected with us, allowing us to be a part of Stephanie's rehab and her journey of getting back on the court. And so I can't say enough about this staff. I cannot say enough about Stephanie and her determination, the medical team, the staff, the training staff. It's been really at an elite level.
You know, getting drafted to the WNBA, despite all of those hardships and despite that she didn't have the season that she wanted to have and she didn't have the eligibility piece work out, it kind of felt like this was all supposed to be how it was supposed to be for her, is what she'll say.
That January day was awful. We'll never forget it. But now we're in a really good spot. And I think it's something to really celebrate and be proud of.
I think I'd like to say a big thank you to the whole coaching staff, to the whole staff here at Iowa State. They've done something, okay, here we go. Yeah, they've just become such a big part of my life. I wasn't sure what I was getting into coming into here, coming from such a small school, but I am very grateful for them. Time is precious, so the time that they've been able to put into my life and help me, wow, it's been really awesome. Yeah. Yeah, they're just amazing people. Now being able to work with them has changed my perspective in a lot of things. And you know, you don't know how much time and effort that coaches put into, you know, preparing and organizing for the team. And now I'm just so grateful for their lives. Especially Coach Dyer. She's putting a lot of work and effort into helping me just get better every day. And also Aaron and Tessa. They've been working my butt off, but I'm very grateful for them because I don't think, you know, it's people, you don't get this opportunity and this chance to, you know, have all these resources and have all these things available to you. As an athlete, it's like gold. So I am truly, truly thankful for them.